Hi there, enlightened ones. This is Cheyenne Valentine. Back today again with a new episode. Today's episode, I want to go back into the resource-based economy theory. To me, it's not a theory. To me, it is something that needs to happen. And each day I wake up and I have to work a job and bust my butt and, not have any time for myself, the more it eats at me. And the more I know that society is moving towards something better. And that's the resource-based economy. Someone mentioned, it's a lady on YouTube. She talked about how she's wrote a couple books and she moved to LA to pursue her dreams of being a model and actress. And Nick Cannon's father was her mentor. He told her you need to, have something else to fall back on because, everyone comes to LA to try to be a model and an actress and it doesn't pan out for everybody. So she wrote a couple books. She's been on TV. I'm not going to necessarily say her name, but she talked about how her mother died of breast cancer, and all her dream was to ride the bus. That she's from Jamaica, was to ride the bus for I think a quarter. They were going to reduce the fee for riding the bus, and that was her mother's dream. And she remember telling her mom she wanted to model, and her mother said, "Oh, well, you got to be pretty to model," whatever. And she just remembered how her mother left her pennies, literally pennies, after she died. So she didn't have any inheritance, and she had to work 3 jobs. And from the age of 18 to 21, she had all kind of jobs, cleaning toilets, working in a baseball field, selling peanuts. She's done everything. And she thought to herself how cruel it was that we only get 2 days out of the week for ourselves. Usually, Saturday or Sunday, or some people maybe get Monday and Wednesday off, or however your job is set up. And she talked about how cruel it is that we only get 2 weeks off for vacation. Quote, let's put parentheses around vacation. 2 weeks 2 weeks for vacation time in a whole year. And some people don't even get that. I think I heard that Americans get the least amount of time to themselves, at least the least amount of time off of work. And I think about how we spend all our lives up until the age of 60 or 70 working 5 days a week for somebody else. And whether even if it's your own business, you're still working. You're still busting your butt to bring in this thing called money. My father is in his 70s and he's still working, everybody, because he didn't, save. He saved some money, but he's still working. And that breaks my heart that he has to do that. That I don't have the money coming in to tell him, "Dad, you don't have to work anymore. Relax." And I don't have the money to do that. I'm still out here trying to build something for myself, and I'm barely getting by. That's devastating for me. I also watched a CNN special where this lady, she was 53. She talked about job discrimination, how after the age of 35, you start getting discriminated against in the workforce. So you really need to try to have your own business, And they talked about, she talked about how she had a master's and she had all these different things, and she decided to open up a couple stores that were selling African furniture, African style furniture. And the business was successful for a while, but it didn't really take off the way she thought. And she took pretty much all of her savings, because she had a pretty good job, and invested in it, and it didn't go anywhere. She had to close the stores down. So now she's living, in a townhome, but at any moment she can basically be kicked out. The money isn't coming in, and it's a lot of people they're saying that's in their 50s and up that are going through this, when this is supposed to be a time where they have accumulated a lot of wealth. And look, the bottom line is this money-based economy does not work anymore. Okay, it doesn't work. No one should have to worry about food, water, and shelter. Nobody. So I'm gonna give a metaphor to explain this, so that you can see how absurd it is that we have to work for this thing called money. First of all, if I'm correct, how is money made? I'm not talking about, pennies and quarters and copper and stuff like that. I'm talking about the paper money. how is it made? It's made from trees, right? They cut down trees and make paper, and they take the paper and make the money, right? What is a tree? Isn't a tree grown for free in a sense? Nature created the tree for free, basically. Let's get to the point. So society has taken something that is free and made it into money, something that we have to exchange for our time and energy. Because you exchange your time and energy for this thing called money, but you're exchanging your time and energy for something that was made from something that was free. Listen to what I'm saying, because the premise of the resource-based economy is that there's enough resources that the planet provides for free to go around for everybody, that everyone can use without exchanging it for money. Essentially, us working for this thing called money that is made from a tree, which is free, is essentially to taking a squirrel. Now, I go to the park a lot and I see squirrels, waiting for the nuts and apricots to fall from the tree to harvest. And I heard that squirrels also gather their food, I think in the summertime and the springtime for the wintertime, and then in wintertime, because I think, the nuts and stuff aren't really growing as good in winter, and they store their food for the winter and they hide out or whatever, and they have their food. Smart, right? That's essentially to us taking a squirrel and saying, instead of you being able to eat the nuts and apricots for free that the tree provides for you for free, I'm going to take you and I'm going to say for 8 to 10 hours a day, you have to run around in this cage nonstop. You get a 1 hour break. So you have to do it for 8 hours and you get a 1 hour break, and you have to keep just running around in this cage nonstop for 8 freaking hours with a 1 hour break. If you do that, I will give you the apricots. Does it make sense? I will give you the nuts that you were used to getting for free, that fell from the tree for free. Or you can essentially say, also another way you can say it is the squirrels are used to eating the nuts and apricots for free. I take all the squirrels. I say, okay, you're going to run around in this cage for 8 hours a day. You get a 1 hour break. You have to stay in that little cage for 8 freaking hours. Imagine, squirrels are used to living out in nature, going around, running and smelling the fresh air. No, I'm going to take you and put you in a box, in a cage, and make you run around for 8 hours and give you a 1 hour break. And I'm going to give you this thing called money. All right, and you're going to take that money and then buy the nuts and the apricots that you used to get for free, that grew from the tree for free, fell from the tree for free, that you used to eat freely. In those 8 hours that you're running around the cage, you used to be able to be free in nature and do whatever you wanted to do, search for food, play, do whatever. No, I'm going to take you. I'm going to take this thing that's free from you, force you to run around in a cage for 8 hours, have a 1 hour break. Okay, then I'm going to give you this thing called money, squirrel. You're going to take this thing called money, and then you're going to take this thing called money, and then you can buy as many apricots and nuts as you want. But this is the kicker. I'm not going to give you a lot of the money, because each hour that you're running around that cage, I'm only going to pay you maybe $1 an hour. And then I'm going to charge you a significant amount of money for the nuts and apricots. So, squirrel, when you used to be able to eat the nuts and apricots for free at your leisure, whenever, and live wherever you want to live and do whatever you want to do throughout the day, I'm going to take you, put you in this cage for 8 hours, make you run around, give you an hour break, give you this thing called money, but I'm going to give you $1 an hour for running around this cage. So you essentially get $8 an hour. Okay? So you're getting paid $1 an hour for running around this cage, and you're going to run around for 8 hours. So you're going to get $8 for that day. Now you might say, squirrel, okay, fine. I can now get my nuts and apricots again that I used to always eat for free, that the tree produced for free, that nature produced for free. Then I say, but it's a kicker. I decided to put a monetary value on these nuts and apricots, and I'm going to charge you for them. And then squirrel might say, okay, fine. I have the money. I get $8 a day. But I say, each nut might cost I might charge you 50 cents for a nut. Huh? Yeah, I might charge you 50 cents for a nut. I might only charge you 10 cents for the apricot. I decide to put a value on it. So before, squirrel, when you was able to run around out in nature for free and do whatever you wanted to do and eat for free, now I put a monetary value on everything. And then for you to get that money, I'm going to force you to run around this cage for 8 hours. Take away your freedom. Take away your time. Give you this thing called money that was produced from something free, like a tree. Give you this money, but then pay you so little pay you a very little amount of money. Then the things that you need to get with this money, I'm going to turn up the price on it to where you can't even really afford a lot of it. When before you could get it for free, eat as much of it as you want. You had all your time to yourself. You could roam around, play, search for food, get ready for the winter. That is essentially what has been done to humanity. And that metaphor might sound strange, but you listen to what I'm saying, that is what has been done. Also, apricot, on top of you running around that cage for 8 hours, getting paid $1 per hour, you're going to do that for 5 days a week. Also, squirrel, remember when you used to be able to sleep underground and find you a place under a tree to sleep in, or you might used to sleep in a tree or sleep in bushes or sleep underground? No, now I'm going to make you pay for that. Yeah, you're on the planet. The planet provides everything for free. The planet provides the tree for free, the shade and all that, the nuts and stuff. But I'm going to make you pay for all of that now, even though everything was free. That's what has been done to humanity. See, everybody, we're so used to paying for everything and being put in such a bad predicament that we don't understand that our life is supposed to be like the squirrel and the other animals, in a sense. Yes, we are more evolved, but we're not better than the other animals on this planet. And the fact that they're able to roam freely, get their food and do those things, that's the same thing we're supposed to have. Yes, we're more advanced. We can build stuff. They can build things too. But yeah, we're more advanced. We're more evolved. We're more evolved species, obviously. But at the same time, you see how they live? Their time is to themselves. Yes, they have to search for food. I understand it. But the food is I'm not talking about the animals that eat each other. I'm talking about like squirrels who don't eat. From my understanding, they might eat insects and stuff like that and worms. I'm not quite sure. But let's just keep this simple. I know for a fact squirrels like nuts. I have seen them in the park and they wait for the nuts and apricots to harvest on the trees, and as they start to drop, the squirrels eat them. Okay, that's their food. We have to go to the grocery store to get our food. If we want to grow food, we have to go get the seeds and the things to grow it. And we have to have a backyard and all that good stuff. Most people don't grow their own food anymore. They go to the grocery store and they buy their food with this thing called money. How do you get money? You work a job. Then you tell them, okay, just work a job. Okay, what? Okay, you work this so-called job and you're there for 8 hours. So all your time has been taken from you. Then they hike up the price on the things that you need, like we need shelter. Rent is one of the most biggest expenses anybody could have. They hike up the price on food, clothes, clean water. Okay, you follow me? And then you have to be this place called a job for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You only get 2 days off. And then you're doing something you don't even enjoy. So it's breaking down your spirit. Another thing I want to talk about too is how sad it is that you have to pick between your family and your job and money. Essentially, your job just equals money. It's this one guy. He was upset about Chick-fil-A's policies, and he was a CEO of a company, and he made 6 figures. He drove up to the drive-in, and a young lady was there, and he kind of berated her. He said, how could you work at a place like this? This place is disgusting. And you know, I understand that he was upset, but he should have went to the CEO of Chick-fil-A and said something. And I understand he don't understand why she would want to work for that place, but everybody doesn't have the privilege or the skill set to make 6 figures. So I'm pretty sure she's working a fast food job. She needed the job. Once again, needing money for food, water, and shelter and clothes. So the video went viral and he got fired. And every job he's tried to get out of that, he has not been able to get. He has changed his appearance, grew out a beard. He even moved out of state and worked at one job for 2 weeks. And when they found the video, they fired him. And so now his family is on food stamps and his wife is the breadwinner, and I do not think she's happy about that. And they asked his sons how did they feel about their father being at home all the time, and they said, you know, we don't want him to work. We like the fact that he can be at home with us and play. And it almost brought me to tears, because this man has to choose between being with his family and money. They make us all choose that. And I don't have kids, but I know you all have maybe been through a situation where you had to leave early. I had a friend who got fired from her job because we worked from, I think, 8 to 5, and she had 3 kids, and her brother used to pick up her kids from daycare. He couldn't anymore, so she wanted to get off at 4:30. Well, our supervisor said, well, if I change the rules for you, then I have to change for everybody else, and I can't let you get off at that time. Even though this woman is telling her, I have my kids I have to pick up, they don't care. After she went over this woman's head, the woman got upset and fired her. She had to choose between money and her kids. Okay. And so what I'm saying is that it is devastating that as human beings, we should be able to spend time with our family. What is the point of having a family if you have to be at work all day? There is no point. Okay? They have taken that from us. You have to choose. Then your life passes you by, and you haven't spent any time with your mom, your dad, your kids, your siblings, because you're at work all freaking day, working for something that should be free. Now, us working for money is essential to another metaphor I'm going to give you. This is because what you got to understand here is we're using the money to purchase things that should be free. Like I said, we need shelter, we need water, we need food, and we need clothes. Okay, and I said clean water. We need these things, right? So just follow me here. So what society has done is taking that from us and making us work for it. You might say, what's bad about that? I'm gonna tell you a couple things that's bad about that. First of all, they're making you be at a place 8 hours, 5 days a week to get this. You're exhausted, you're tired. They're basically essentially taking your life from you. They make you, now they have also pushed up the retirement age. I think the retirement age was maybe 62, 63. Now they're going to make you work to 65 now. Now I might not be as accurate on this number, but I know it used to be, I think, around 62, 63 you could retire. Now it's 65. They're pushing the threshold. Next is going to be you have to work to 70 to get retirement. They want to work humanity in the ground. They don't want you to be enlightened. They want to make your life as hard as possible so that you can't find yourself. If you're always busy at work and wore out, you won't think about why is the world like this? Who am I? Why did I incarnate on this planet? Why is there so much violence? Why can't I just travel and spend time with my family and be happy? They don't want you to be happy because on a deeper level, when we're unhappy and miserable, we give off a low vibration. And the beings that we can't see feed off of that energy. They need to keep humanity in a depressed, low vibrational state. And when you're at a place 8 hours a day that you don't want to be at, and it's hundreds of y'all in that one building, trust me, that building is when someone walks in and who feeds off energy, they're feeding off your depression, your misery. You're like in prison. When you go to work and you're stuck there 8 to 9 hours a day, you're in prison, everybody. You're in a prison without any walls because, yeah, you could leave, but you can always come back. You can always come back because you need money. And it's insane that we have to pay for things that should be free. Like the analogy of the squirrel. So I'm going to tell you how absurd this is. So, because the things that we're paying for, the planet provides for free, and also we need it for survival. The human body needs fresh water, it needs food, it needs shelter to cover us and climate, and we need clothes. We need these things for survival. This is basic. Okay, so essentially to us paying for these things, essentially, because think about it, we're paying for things that, hear me, that we need for the body to function, to survive on this planet. So imagine if every human being was born, when we're born rather. Now, we have 2 legs and 2 arms, right? Why do you have 2 legs and 2 arms? You need it to walk straight, to do things. You need 2 arms, you need the 5 fingers, you need the thumb, you need all the body parts you have. If you were born and you don't have any type of defect or disability, you need all the body parts and they all have a function, right? So imagine if I tell you, let's say every human being that was born, their left arm was taken from them. At birth, the doctor removed their left arm to make them disabled. Now, you're disabled, and they said, well, you can get that left arm back. We can give you a prosthetic arm. We can give you your arm back. We can give you another biological arm that you could not even tell was a prosthetic. However, what if you get this arm back, you have to pay $1 million for it. And so let's say every human being that's born want their arm because they need that left arm to function. They have to have 2 arms. They were born whole. But yet the doctor has taken something from them to make them incomplete. So let's say he removes their left arm. He said, said it's going to cost you $1 million to get that arm back. So you go through life disabled, but you get through. You learn how to function with one arm. Okay. Everybody on the planet has one arm and is disabled. So because everybody has one arm, it seems normal. But yet you still know that, well, damn, at birth, why did they take everybody's left arm from them? I don't understand. You know it's wrong. You don't get it. Nobody can ever really explain it to you. But, when you look around, everybody has one arm, and everybody's left arm was taken from birth, and everybody knows you have to pay $1 million to get your left arm back. So you might say, fine, get a job, save up the money, get $1 million. This is the thing. You get a job, and all your life you're trying to just work and save to not only have other things, but to mainly get that left arm back. So you're trying to save enough money all your life. But the problem is, you don't get paid enough to save enough to get that $1 million to get that arm back. You don't get paid enough. They make you work 10 hours because they tell you, okay, we're going to take your left arm, but you can get it back for $1 million. You say, well, how can I get it back? And they say, well, you have to work a job for this thing called money. And then you can take the money, give it to us, and we give you your arm back. You say, okay, cool. When I'm old enough, I'm going to get me a job and I'm going to save up and get my arm back. So they said, well, in order for you to work, you have to work 10 hours a day, and we're only going to pay you $2 an hour. Do you know, everybody, how long that would take for this person to save up to $1 million to get their arm back? They would never get it back. So many people will die with one arm in that society. Am I correct? Because you need $1 million to get your left arm back. But you're working 10 hours a day, but you're only getting paid $2 an hour. And let's say you're working 6 days a week. That's mandatory. That's mandatory for every human being that works full time in that society that I'm talking about, to work 6 hours. To work 6 days a week, 10 hours a day for $2 an hour. And you have to not only buy other things, but the main thing in this society that I'm talking about, you have to save up $1 million to get your left arm back. Many people in that society is going to die without ever having their other arm. But guess what's going to happen? By you looking around that society and seeing everybody having one arm, even though everybody knows their left arm was removed at birth, still everybody's going to look around and think that shit is normal. Excuse my language. Think it's normal. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, everybody. Us working for free things is like us working and having a disability. It's our prime survival has been taken from us. We're working at a defect. We cannot meet our full potential as human beings. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. If we cannot have our basic necessities, if we have to worry about survival, because as long as we're worried about survival, we're never going to work at our full capacity, and we're never going to go and find out what our life purpose is. We're never going to be who we could totally be, because our attention and focus is going to always be on survival. You're never going to truly be happy ultimately. Yes, you can work on it and find inner peace, but you're going to still know something's not right. And if you live in a society where your left arm is removed, now you're disabled. So essentially, you're going to have essentially in that kind of world, the whole population is disabled. They're working with one arm, but it seems normal because everybody has that condition. So we think that it's normal to work a 9-to-5 job. We think it's normal to work for money because that's all we know, and everybody else is doing it around us. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's not normal. Look at how other beings in nature live. They eat what nature creates for them. They find shelter. Yes, they're not as advanced as we are, but just look at it from a simplistic point of view. Taking the squirrel out of its habitat, making it run around a cage for 8 hours, giving it a 1 hour break, giving it money and saying, okay, now you have to buy the nuts and apricots that you once could get for free. Now you have to pay for shelter when you used to sleep under that tree for free, when you used to live underground for free. That's what they have done to us. Well, it's been done for so many hundreds of years that now we're used to this monetary system. And they have taken something free like a tree and created the money out of it, and it's making us take the money that they made from a free source, which is a freaking tree, and now it's making us take that money and pay for things that the planet provides for free. That doesn't make any sense. This is insanity. Someone also mentioned that, how can a resource-based economy work? Excuse my language, this is what this person said. They said shit has to get done. I said in my other video that baby steps. It has to be a transitional period where we all volunteer. So my suggestion was that how many people is there on the planet? Like 6 billion people. My suggestion was that everybody gives their time 3 days a week, 2 hours a day. So that would be 6 hours, 6 hours a week. Those 6 hours would be to volunteer. This is something that someone said, mandatory volunteer, which is contradicting itself. Basically, it's either you're going to volunteer and help the society willingly, 2 hours, three days a week, or you're going to work and slave for 40 hours plus. Now, which one is it? And this is what's wrong with humans. They can't, like the analogy with the arm being removed from everybody at birth, their left arm. When you have a defect, but everybody has that defect and that disability, you start to think it's normal. We think it's normal to work for free things and use money to get it. And then the trick is they tell you, oh, you can have an apartment, you can have a car, but the car's gonna cost you $50,000, but you only make $20,000 a year. On top of you have to pay $6,000 at $20,000 for a place to stay in a bad area, and then you need food. See what they do? They hike up the price for things that we need, that we have to have for survival. We need a vehicle actually to get around. But I remove vehicles out of the necessity because I'm going with the basic things. When you work and you get up every day, you're using that money for the main things: survival, food, fresh water, and sometimes not even fresh. So food, fresh water, shelter. Rent is your biggest expense, and clothes to cover your body. At its core, we're not talking about cable and internet and all that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about for basic things. You go to work mainly for rent. Everybody's biggest expense is rent. So this person was saying that, shit needs to be done. And no. Would you rather volunteer 6 hours out of the week to help contribute to the society, and you do not have to work a 9-to-5 job? The jobs will be removed. It's just we would need everyone that's obviously of working age, not working age, but who's able-bodied, who's an adult, to help the society. So basically, how it would look is if you volunteer 3 days a week, 2 hours a day. Let's say let's say that's how the society is, this transitional period. So let's say you decide, I want to help with the sewage system. I want to help with the community garden. Another thing, we will start to grow our own foods more, but not in such a, because a lot of the farmers are kind of in the outskirts. We can still do it like that, but we can have community gardens where, you won't have to, get food shipped from over here and from over there all the time. You can kind of grow some of the stuff. And also it would be cooperation. Yeah. Some foods can grow in certain climates. And so someone in Florida, will exchange certain things with people here and help and ship things here. I mean, it can be worked out. Of course, I don't know the very minute details of it right now, but what I'm saying is that it is doable. And we're going in that route. I don't know how many years. It could take 10 years from now, 20 years. But that humans are tired of being abused. Humans are tired of wearing that stuff in the ground, not having time for their family. Humans are tired of living and dying on this freaking planet and not knowing their life purpose. Humans are tired of being under amnesia, not knowing who they are, why they're here. Humans are tired of not being able to pursue their passion and dying of a broken heart. Humans are tired of having kids and having to send them to the daycare, and don't have time for them because they have to be at work all day. Humans are tired of struggling. Humans are tired of being homeless when they don't have money for a shelter. Being thrown out of their apartment or their home because they didn't have this thing called freaking money. Also, some of your time could be volunteered to building homes or building apartment complexes, or actually helping with maintenance. Because of course, you build a house, you need, you have to have maintenance. But if you have a house built in this resource-based economy, you will have the time to work on things in your home because you won't be at work all day. You understand what I'm saying? This can work. It's just like I said, we're so used to dysfunction and working at a defect and working with a disability that we don't understand that if you look at the other beings in nature, they get everything for free. Why can't we?